Hey everyone, welcome back to Library-ish, the podcast where the books are free, the opinions are our own, and the only thing we love more than a good read is someone to talk about it with.
Today's episode is for anyone who started their 25 and 25 reading challenge sheet and thought, wait, how many books do I have left? Don't panic, because we got you.
Absolutely. We're checking in on the challenge, sharing some of our favorite picks so far, and giving you a few friendly ways to stay motivated, like starting your own book club or joining one at your local library.
Oh, we have so many, goodness. We're calling this one Book Clubs 101 and a 25 and 25 pep talk, because who says reading has to be a solo sport? Let's go.
Yeah!
25 and 25.
25 and 25. I'm trying to get my bolster correct. These chairs. Yes, the 25 and 25. How are you doing on your 25 and 25?
That's great. See, I love to read.
Mhm.
It's my favorite hobby. I consider myself a reader, and my perfect vacation involves me with my favorite book, cuddled at home and, all that fun stuff. But there's this thing called life that kind of gets in the way.
That?
I've got three girls. And
Yeah, you
they're
have
all
it rough, and you're in school.
And I'm in school, and I find, I did this back when I was in my undergrad too, which I loved reading back then as well. But when you've got school and you've got, teachers assigning you readings, a lot of times your reading challenge kind of gets pushed off into the wayside,
100%.
And it's hard. It's hard to be able to fit it in, because I know that, I want to read, and I know that it's good mental health practice to read and to relax and all that stuff, but life happens. How's yours going?
Samesies, except I don't have any children and I am not in school. I'm just tired.
Oh, you know what? That's fine.
I'm just tired.
That's fine.
Yeah. I think it's really hard too when you're working all the time, and like for me, it's just me in my household. So like I the cooking, the cleaning, the whatever, none of which I'm really doing, if I'm being honest. It's like, it's just very hard to find that space to sit down, grab a book, be uninterrupted, and devote yourself, which if a book is really good, you're gone.
Yeah.
You're immersed, which is the best thing. But there's also that little hesitation beforehand going, when you pick that book up, you're gone. That nothing else is getting done. That this is your life now until the book is done. And so there's that hesitation too to get involved in the book.
Yeah, there's that, and I feel so bad about this because I get rage. I get that rage when I'm sitting down and I'm like, I finally found the time to sit and read a book, and I'm like into it, and I'm reading, and it's getting really exciting. And then I hear a knock, knock, knock. Mom, what? What do you want? And bring it down. Yes, darling. How can I help you?
You're like, don't react.
It's just instant rage being yanked out of that wonderful world and being had it plopped in reality. Oh yes, I have responsibilities. I have little humans.
Well, that's what's nice about joining a reading challenge is, you don't have to make necessarily the choices, which can also be hard, like picking out of your TBR pile, the to be read pile. Yeah. Which book do I want to do first? Like the prompts and things like that make a reading challenge a really helpful way to get involved in reading.
Yeah.
And there are, of course, ways that you can mitigate some of these issues. Like I know a lot of people that pair their reading experience with audiobooks.
I do that too.
Yeah, so that they can either make the audiobook prime and then use the reading to go back over things that they really want to get deeper into, or vice versa, read and then use the audiobook to play catch up.
See, yeah, I do, because I commute. We all commute. Here at the Butte County Library, you may see us in one or two branches, but we are trained to do all of them. And some
and frequently do visit all
very
of them.
much so.
Yeah.
And there'll be a time or two, even though I live up here in Paradise, that I'm driving all the way down to Gridley. Because sometimes we need coverage there. And all of us we're amazing, and we're happy to do so.
We are, though.
But it's quite a long drive. And so what I'll do is I'll get Libby, and I'll get whatever book I'm reading at the time, put it on my Libby, put it on my car, audio speakers, and then I'll listen to it. And then when I get to wherever I'm going and I'm ready to actually start reading, I'll just kind of fast forward everything that I listened to and then start there. And so that way I get to balance out the audio and the regular, and I get a full book experience, even though my time is very limited.
Right.
Because I don't know about you, but I can't read and drive.
Nor should you.
No, it's illegal.
No matter how
engaging.
Yeah, no matter how engaging that reading challenge is.
Not naming any names, obviously, but I've been in cars with people pulling up their phone when a text comes in, and I'm like, hands on the wheel, what are you doing?
10 and 2, 10 and 2.
And I can't, no, I'm just not that talented, and I'm not that stupid. So I put on Libby, and then I can listen to the book. And then when I get to where I'm going, I can pull up the reading part. Cause time management.
I know. That's why though, looking at this tracker, the audiobook thing is definitely helpful, but the tracker is also a helpful thing.
Oh,
and there's some really cool things on the tracker too.
And I love these categories because we have a group in I believe it was our literacy department, they came up with these prompts, and they picked some really cute ones, like a book with with mythological creatures.
Yes.
That's a lot of them, and they're always a lot of fun.
Absolutely. A book with bad reviews. I mean, that's fun.
That is. What book came out? Oh my gosh. 50 Shades of Grey. Oh, when that came out, I had so many friends recommend it to me. They're like, you have to read this. It's so good. And Traci, I tried. I sat down with it and I tried so hard.
And if this was a book that you enjoyed, I mean,
all the more power to you.
Yes.
We all have different, opinions are like armpits. Yes. We've all got two and they all stink.
Yes.
This is mine. I couldn't get through it. And then I go back online and you see a mix of reviews. You see a lot of bad reviews, but then you see a lot of good reviews. So there's a lot of books that you can choose from with that category.
So basically you're saying this is your opportunity to read that book. Just put it on that. I mean, one of the things is a podcast episode. So if you have your tracker in front of you, please go ahead and check and write down the podcast.
A book about immigrant or refugee. The Book in Common. That's a good one as well. What is the title of that one? Shoop-bop.
Oh, it's on. It might be on the.
Here it is. In our there it is. Our Migrant Souls. That's actually the Pulitzer Prize winning one, and it's about by Hector Tobar. And a personal exploration of what it means to be Latino in the United States right now, which is a hot button for a lot of people right now. And we have every branch has a lot of copies of these because it is the Book in Common. And for those who don't know, the Book in Common is a book choice that I believe it's Chico State that releases it. And they pick one book and it's every year. And this is the book that they've chosen. And next year they'll pick a different book and so on and so forth. So we have a lot of copies of this. And it's an intense book from what I understand. I have not read it yet. It's a part of my TBR.
There you go. It's on the list. It's on the stack. Right now I'm looking up a word that is on the reading challenge sheet. And it's Bildungsroman, which I am probably pronouncing that completely incorrectly. Let's hear how it sounds. Will it play it? Oh, I have the volume down because we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Bildungsroman.
Okay, so Bildungsroman, which is a novel dealing with one person's formative years or spiritual education. Ooh. So there is actually, which is it? Where did it go? It was on here just a second ago. Number 19. Okay. So it's number 19. So it's a Bildungsroman by a female author.
Ooh.
So that's very interesting.
And we do have for those who want to actually start a book club, we've got a couple of programs that are really good for that.
Absolutely.
I love Book Club in a Box.
Absolutely.
Book Club in a Box is so nice.
And let's first touch on why reading with others is something that works.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there are different reasons that doing activities connected to other people works. One of the things is accountability. If you are reading with a group and you all know you need to be at a certain point in the book at a certain time because you're going to have certain conversations, you are more likely to get to that part of the book because you know that other person or that other group of people is going to be there too.
Right.
And you don't want to be left behind, and FOMO, you don't want to be left out.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes you want to talk to people.
Motivating.
So my sister is an RN, and we were getting our nails done at this cute little boutique. And as we're talking about her job and the things that she kind of deals with every day, a woman comes over and says, "Have you heard of The Women?" Which is a book by Kristen Hanna about nurses in the Vietnam War.
Incredibly popular over the last few months.
Yeah, my sister looked at her and said, "No, I haven't heard of that one." And I'm like, "I have."
You're like, "Oh, I have."
And it's she came over. They were talking about all these details and comparing, being an RN now versus being a nurse in the Vietnam War, and all that stuff. And sometimes when you have a tasty little thing that you've just read, you want the opportunity to discuss it with someone else. You want to discuss things that you loved about it. You want to discuss things that you hated about it. I mean, I've had books that I'd be reading, and in the middle, I'd take it and throw it across the room because it was bad and it made me so mad. And I have no one to express this to because no one's read it. And I can't just go to some random person and be like, "I was reading The Kite Runner and I came to this part and I had to throw it across the room because I was so upset." I would look insane to do that to a random person. But if I went to someone who was also reading the book, they'd be like, "Oh, I completely understand where you're coming from. Yay, let's rage together." It's good to have that other person to connect with,
Absolutely. And knowing that you're going to have that can also be just a motivating factor, knowing that you're going to be able to have a discourse about it and be able to express how you feel, be able to express how it relates to your personal experiences, and be able to share that with somebody. That is just huge. So yeah,
very much so.
Definitely is great. And it's a great way to build friendships too.
Very much.
Because you're able to have discussions and discourse over something and maybe even disagree, which frequently happens in book clubs. So people read a thing and they all have a different opinion about how whatever they're reading strikes them. But it's great to be able to have that discourse in sort of a safe environment too. It's a great opportunity to do that and build connections with people in your community.
Very much so.
It's awesome.
There's no size limit for book clubs. And we do have that program, Book Club in a Box. And if you're one of those people that you're like, I want to talk to someone else about what I'm reading, but I don't want to read what they're reading. Maybe I don't like historical fiction. Maybe I don't like regular fiction. Maybe, these people and I, we want to get together and we want to read something that's a young adult book like Sky,
So let's talk about since we're talking about book clubs in a box, let's talk about exactly what that is.
Yeah.
So this is something that you can go to our website and click through to the North State Cooperative Library System's Book Club in a Box program. And what they do is they have a list of titles that are available through the Book Club in a Box program, and you're able to request a box set, which would give you several of these books for you to be able to pass out among whomever is in the group you establish as a book club. And then you can all read the same book. And you don't have to go out to Barnes and Noble and source it or worry about, did you get it? Did you not? Do I have it? Do you not? It's just all provided for you. And it's an extremely extensive list of books. And they're all very current, very popular titles. So it's a great way to start a book club. Then all you have to focus on is establishing your group. You don't have to worry about where do you get the titles? How many do you need?
Mhm.
Where can you get them? You literally could just go to the library's website, look through the list of what's available, decide which titles you like, and put in the request, and it will be sent to us, and we'll make sure you get it.
Very
So
much.
easy.
It's so wonderfully easy. And these are books that are separate from the ones that are in our collection for checkout. It's not like, oh, they're all checked out. No, I mean, you might be able to get a set like this that aren't checked out. And the person who runs it, Crystal, is amazing. You've heard us talk about her a lot. She's a delight. She actually takes requests. If there's a book that we don't have that you want to have at your book club, and you're like, hey, we would really like to read this, leave a comment. And she'll be able to look and see if we have funding and stuff like that, then she can grab a set of those. I mean, because one person's ideal book club book may not agree with someone else's.
Oh yeah.
And
there's a huge range of books. Here's an example of some books that were just added to the list of what's available. They have Babel by R.F. Kuang. They have Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Children of Time, that's a science fiction novel by Adrian Tchaikovsky. James, the latest by Percival Everett, that was so popular.
Very much.
So you can see there's a broad range of genres that are available through this program to you. So it's a really great way to sort of take that part of the difficulty of a book club running off your plate, to be able to go, well, we have this list, and the entire list of what's available is available online to you. You can go ahead and read through that, and
it's off of our website.
We can also you can also put in a request for something that's not off the list, and Crystal will do everything she can to work her magic to make it happen for you.
There's something to be said about getting together with friends, and everybody reading a book, and maybe cracking out a beverage or something like that, and kind of hanging out and talking about what you liked, talking about what you didn't like, raging at the universe. Whatever you have to do there's something to be said about the joy of that.
Absolutely. And let's talk about that aspect of book clubs.
The beverage? Sorry.
Absolutely. No, who is in the book club? How do you start and sustain a book club? So who would be part of that? You could have friends, a group of friends that you could talk to coworkers. And maybe they're interested. Maybe that's something you'd like to do for team building.
I'm in a couple of moms groups on Facebook. And I've had a couple of times when moms are like, hey, I want to start a book club. Who else would like to join me? What kind of things do you want to read?
Absolutely.
I mean, you can make a book club. You just need it, basically anybody that enjoys reading.
Absolutely. And then what kind of things might you want to read? You could theme it, or you could have it be general. Some book clubs, like we have the Chico Book Club,
we have so many book
the main
clubs
one.
Chico.
We have book clubs across most all the branches. The one branch that we have in Paradise is the only branch where
right now.
It's the Paradise Friends are running the book club currently, but we will be establishing at least one. There are several ideas for book clubs here in Paradise, but all the other branches do have book clubs established. Another thing that we've done with our book clubs in Durham is they mix their groups together. The regular book club there in Durham, which is a sort of general read all genres kind of book club, picked a book, and they paired with the book club over at the local high school. And they did a crossover event. So the Durham Book Club, their age, demographic is a little older, but they all got together with the high schoolers, and they were all able to talk about, it was like The Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime was the book that they did.
Fun.
And they all were able to talk about the book together and come from their various different perspectives. So who you ask to be part of the book club can be anybody.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then what you're reading could be virtually anything. And where you're reading, our library actually is completely open to having book clubs come in. We have the meeting rooms available, which if you have several people and the meeting room is available, it's definitely available for you to use. But we're also more than willing to have people come and just be on the floor and have conversations right
Oh
in the
yeah.
regular library about their
Yeah,
books.
that's how they do it in
Mhm.
Chico. They use the little area behind the makerspace corral,
Mhm.
and over there they set up the tables and they've got little name tags, and it's a great little time. I would love to have a book club using cozy mysteries. We so cozy mysteries are so funny because someone dies and then there's recipes at the end,
that is whole that I mean, it just cracks me up. It
there's
just
a lot of
cracks me
people
up.
that can't
We
stand
just
it.
found an eviscerated body.
Look, he's all
but,
bloody and gross.
but let's follow that with a pie recipe.
Yay! Cherry pie's the best.
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly.
I love
It's
it.
so funny.
I would love to do a book club where you read the cozy mystery and then everybody kind of tries one of the recipes at the end and you bring it in and everybody gets to nibble.
How fun.
Right? Wouldn't that be fun?
That is awesome.
I'm
That is
I'm still
awesome.
thinking of the dead body and then look, cookie recipes.
Yeah, exactly. Cupcakes.
Don't mind the dead man over there. It's
Yes,
fine.
exactly.
Eat the cupcakes instead. Devin.
Exactly.
Yes.
We'll just instead of a chalk outline, it's an icing out.
It is an icing outline. Oh, now we got really dark.
That's
fine. That's fine.
Also, you might wonder, like, how often a book club should meet.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
Monthly is good. Maybe every
That's
6
standard.
weeks. Yeah, monthly is it, but every 6 weeks you could do it. Essentially, it's based upon your schedules and how fast y'all read.
Yeah. See, I'm not a fast reader. I can't speed read through stuff. But when I do read, I I digest it. I consume it. And so I take my time reading because I'm enjoying it and I'm taking my time throughout it.
Right.
If I can speed read when I do it for school and stuff like that, but nothing's retained. Nothing's remembered. I'm not like, pulling away the great mysteries of life. I have to stop and I have to read it and I have to absorb it. I'm not a fast reader. I'd probably be a part of either 1 month or 6-week book clubs.
Yeah, I think 6 week is actually like not a bad pace to set. Certainly 1 month is as short as one could do, but 6 weeks, I think even, depending on how busy people are, 8 weeks could even work.
Right.
The difficulty with 8 weeks would be keeping everybody involved because after a certain point, people will start to drift.
Yeah.
If they don't have that accountability thing. Of the 6 weeks. 6 weeks is kind of a nice balance, but most of ours are 4 weeks, and most of the people absolutely love it. And I think once you get that momentum, you're reading, it's easier to keep pace than when you first start out and you're like, I don't know.
I love working in Chico on book club day. There's a number of adorable patrons that come in and they've always got the opinions. And they're always willing to share them with you. And I'll be at the front counter. And I remember when they read something really controversial one time. I want to say it was How the Word is Passed, which is about a book about slavery.
Yeah.
And one of the patrons came in and she's like, "Can you believe it?" I'm just, no, tell me more.
Yes.
Let's
true.
talk. Because they get really passionate about this.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes these really good, because you can get passionate around other people who are equally as passionate or,
Absolutely. Well, and that's because what does reading do? Reading helps build empathy.
Yeah.
And then when you get the chance to have those conversations with people that and you could share these discoveries of these new things, it's so exciting, and that also leads to, if you've never been in a book club, what sort of stuff goes on in a book club, right? It's hard to know. Well, sometimes book clubs, people just come in and they just chat. They're just like, where'd you wind up? Where'd you go? Sometimes there are guided prompts. We've mentioned before about our historical fiction book club.
Oh, the supplemental materials.
Where there's also, we provide the person that runs that book club, Charity, provides an amazing package, giving an entire timeline and talking about actual historical events that coincide with the events that occur in the book.
And she actually gets in contact with his community. She actually reaches out and contacts these outwardly these communities and says, "Give me what you've got. I've got patrons reading this book. We want to know more." She's the best person for that program.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And there are things you could either have a particular person that is the point person that sort of runs or guides the book club, or you could rotate that role. Let the members pick the books, or let whomever the point person is for that particular cycle pick the book. And lead the discussion. There are all sorts of ways that you can be able to run it. You can also, there's always the opportunity for snacks. Everybody loves snacks. Everybody loves snacks. You can, theme things with games and with playlists, music playlists that you can involve. And the thing to remember is, this isn't being part of a book club. Even though there is the accountability aspect, it's not homework.
No, it's for fun.
Absolutely. And I think that that's something a lot of people stop reading because they see reading as part of a formalized education.
That breaks my heart.
And also because you're forced to read a set curriculum. Often what happens is people burn out on reading in general by the time they're out of school, regardless what level they achieve.
Yeah.
They whether it's high school, some college, whatever, you have these set reading lists. It's often very dry material, not necessarily relatable, and it really sort of turns people off of the act of reading, of the behavior of reading. They don't build that habit for themselves. They build it for this external
that just breaks
thing.
My heart.
And so remembering that a book club is not an external motivator. It can be, but really what you're doing is you're reading for yourself.
You're having fun.
And being more involved helps you do that. Be with a book club, maybe pick a book club that lets you pick the book too, that lets you suggest, so that you can have some personal
connection to
it. Yes, absolutely.
I understand. Yes. School is a very big part of us as individuals, and school's important. I tell my 3 girls this all the time. School is important. And that's where you learn how to read. That's where you expand your mind. But you should also recognize that reading should be fun. It should be fun to read. You should enjoy it. I personally see it as an escape from reality. And when reality gets really big and really mean, I go and I jump into my book. And I pretend reality doesn't exist. It should be fun. We here at the library, we recognize that there are a lot of different stages in learning how to read. One of the big ones is teaching children a love for reading so that when they become adults, they're eager to do so. They're eager to, on their own, expand their mind, read things for pleasure, read things for the nonfiction, for instructional purposes, for learning how to write, for finding out what primary versus secondary sources are, all of those things. It's for me why I understand the whole Lexile level and why that exists. I understand the benefits of that, so we can it gives us measurability and quantifiable information about where a child is when they're going through their reading journey. But I believe mostly that kids should browse just like adults. They should find material they're interested in, and that's what they should focus on rather than this achieving these stair steps. I think that it's not as conducive to building a personal habit of reading. And because reading, while it is an achievement in and of itself to be reading, you're not checking things off a list necessarily, like, I've read this means I'm here in life. I've read that, this means I'm here in life. I've known people that read Ulysses every year. They sit down and they go, I'm gonna do it. They sit down and that's their goal. That's not everybody. It doesn't have to be everybody. You can be reading, the Sarah J. Maas and enjoy yourself, and that is just as valid. I know you do. And you're not the only one. I'm not. No.
And enjoy yourself, and that's why finding a book club that resonates with you and the kind of things you like to read is very helpful. But like come into the library and
Mhm.
browse around and see what you like to read first,
Mhm.
so that you know. I mean, but you can always join a book club and drop out if you get in
Oh
there
yeah,
and it's
there's
like, I don't
no.
like the icing around the dead bodies, and I want something a little different. And start your own book club at that point. Maybe you just
Uh-huh.
need, maybe other people are just like you and need that catalyst.
Mhm.
Need someone to step up and say, I want to read these kind of books. Who wants to join me? And maybe that person is you.
Very much so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're halfway through your reading challenge or still trying to remember where you put your tracker, there's still plenty of time to read, connect, and maybe even start that book club you've been thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely plenty of time.
Plenty.
We're here to remind you reading goals are great, but reading with others, that's where the magic happens. Swing by your local library for help finding books, starting a club, or just to talk about what you're loving or hating so far this year.
Thanks for spending a little time with us today on Library-ish. Until next time, happy reading, and remember, your next favorite book buddy might be closer than you think.
That's right. Bye.
Bye.